Vexilar sonar equipment is critically important to the success of today's fishing trip. Now, joining me in the shack is good buddy and veteran fishing angler, Tom Tucker. He specializes in catching yellow perch, and today's no different. One after another, the yellow perch are coming through the hole. But the beginning of the day was not quite so active. We're fishing the 18-foot contour on a 0-degree day with an east wind in 3 Mile Bay, one of the adjuncts of the famous Chameau Bay fishing region of eastern Lake Ontario. Fish near the bottom and located there were inactive in the morning bite. By raising baits 3 to 5 feet off the bottom, activity increased significantly, and we put plenty of yellow perch onto the ice. Bill Saiff III coming to you from the Hardwater in 3 Mile Bay for this tip. Normally you've seen us run our tandem rigs where we're fishing a Buckshot Rattle spoon, or we're fishing a Swedish pimple down on the bottom, and then we're fishing a tick up above that. That's working here today. We're in 18 feet of water. It's early. It's a mid-January ice fishing trip. What we noticed today, we were having a hard time getting these fish to bite down on the bottom. And a lot of times what we'll do is we'll bang that Buckshot Rattle spoon down off the bottom. Got them right there, buddy? Yeah, I do. Okay, we got one right here. We'll bang that Buckshot Rattle spoon off the bottom to stir things up and to call them in around the shack. And what's actually transpired today, there's a cutter, not a giant fish, but you can see some of the whales that we've been taking here in the shack today. Some really, really good perch coming on the ice. What we noticed, and my buddy Tom Tucker watched this, was that those fish were rising off bottom. We couldn't get the hit down on the bottom, but when we raised that 3 feet, 4 feet off the bottom, those more aggressive fish would rise and they would take that. So we'll beat the bottom. We're fishing 2 holes apiece. We're beating the bottom with a rattle spoon to call those fish in on one rod. The other rod, we're dead sticking next to it, but we're dead sticking at 3 to 4 feet off on that bait presentation. In that position, we're getting non-stop action. In fact, it's hard for us to run 4 rods here in the shack. Trying to get one rod down, the other one hits, and it's very difficult to keep 4 baits in the water here right now. We got fish. We got fish all over the bottom here. I got one working the rod right here, Tom. There he is. Nice fish. Nice fish. This one felt like it came on a minnow. It didn't hit. Look at this. Look at this right next door on this other rod. Oh, look at this. I got one on a tick. Oh, look at this on the bottom, Tommy.
Nice.
Look at this on the bottom.
Wow, nice fish. That's a hog.
Holy smoke. There's a beautiful, beautiful double. Let's take a look at this. And hitting that other rod, and this is what we were talking about. We're banging down here on the bottom with a little rattle bait. And look at this! Look at this! Look at the size of that yellow perch. He's just a slammer, and we're activating him and getting him up off the bottom. And we raise that up. I had this bait 3 feet off the bottom, so this bait's 5 feet off the bottom, and that guy's coming up and hitting the tick on top of it. So it's so critical to read what's actually going on the Vexilar. Sometimes you can run these Vexilars and it puts the fishing off. Today, it was absolutely critical because as we saw those fish start to rise, we got the bite. But when the bait was on the bottom, we could see the fish there, but they didn't want to take the bait. As soon as we raised it off bottom, even in a dead stick fashion, that's what was initiating the strike. And we've got a shack full of big, big perch just like this. That's the tip. Watch that Vexilar, see what the fish's attitude is, and then raise and adjust your presentation to take advantage of it. This is a really, really good fish here. He hit hard. I didn't even have time to lift the rod out of the cradle. Oh my God. Look at that scamp. Or look at this. Oh wow. Look at that. Holy hog. Look at that fish. That is a gigantic yellow perch. He's got my other line here. Let me just set this down. He took it over there. I said to Tom Tucker, who's fishing with me today, we better get the video camera on this because I thought we had a walleye. Tiny little silver green Swedish pimple. You can go right in and take a look at that. And you'll notice the single hook, you've seen us heard us talk about in the videos before here on the bottom. It's nice because it swings like a pendulum. Put a little rosy red or a fathead in it, and a big perch comes in like this, and he just flares his gills, and he just sucks that in, and it can swing in like a pendulum. He doesn't have quite so much to get in his mouth as he does when you're running a treble hook. And of course, we're running our famous, I'll show you here, our famous perch bug on the top of it, tipped with spikes. And I think we've had 4 sets of doubles here in the shack today. I think we got 3 of them on video, but that's just a slammer striper. That's exactly what we're looking for, and it's testament to reading that Vexilar like we were talking about earlier in the video. Watching those fish come up off bottom and get activated 3 or 4 feet off bottom. Why? I don't really know. They're into a frenzy up there where you can hardly get them to hit down there on the bottom. We move that down, witched a fish right up off bottom, and just pumped the rod. Earlier, they were so active they were just taking it, and in the last 30 minutes here towards the end of the day, both Tucker and I have seen a change in the fish's attitude where we needed to be moving that rod all the time and enticing them into a strike. But he witched up off the bottom, and a great striper.
Nice fish.
Yeah, good one.